Sunday, April 19th. I'm Hima Naufa. You're watching the English newscast, and these are today's headlines. Progressive Socialist Party leader Walid Jumblat criticizes remarks by Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah against Saudi Arabia, reiterating his support for the campaign in Yemen. Maronite Patriarch reiterates his call on lawmakers to attend parliament sessions and elect a new president. And clashes between rebels and pro-government forces in Yemen lead Saudi airstrikes to kill 44 people. Riyadh, meanwhile, pledges to cover a UN humanitarian aid appeal. Progressive Socialist Party leader Walid Jumblat is criticizing the remarks made by Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah against Saudi Arabia, reiterating his support for the Saudi-led military campaign in Yemen. The PSP leader said both Iran and Hezbollah were shocked by the Saudi decision to launch the military campaign against the Houthis, which explained the reaction against it. What is with Nasrallah, Jumblat wondered, highlighting the possible negative consequences of Nasrallah's speech. He also questioned what Nasrallah hoped to achieve from Lebanon through his intense speeches against Saudi Arabia. The Druze leader suggested that the purpose could be to provoke Saudi authorities to commit an act against all Lebanese in reference to the possible targeting of Lebanese expats in the Gulf country. Lebanese Forces leader Samir Jaja is lashing out at parties that consider Lebanon part of a broader empire, thus prolonging the presidential vacuum because he says it serves its strategic goals. Jaja said the sides are not only paralyzing the Lebanese country, but also destabilizing the Arab and regional security by creating armed groups. Jaja warned of attempts to undermine stability, security, and sovereignty of certain Arab countries. He also said that this apparently targets Hezbollah chief Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, who has been locked in a war of words with Saudi Arabia. Tensions between Riyadh and Hezbollah increased in the wake of Saudi Arabia's Arab-backed military operation against Yemen's Shia Houthi rebels. The air campaign launched in late March is aimed at defeating the Iran-backed rebels and restoring power to President Abdurrabbu Mansour al-Hadi. Maronite Patriarch is reiterating his call on lawmakers to attend parliament sessions and elect a new president. The people, he says, are suffering on all levels due to the ongoing vacuum at the Babda Palace. During his Sunday sermon at Kirki, he urged MPs to carry out their duties toward the Lebanese people. The Lebanese people, he said, who according to the Constitution are the source of all power, carry out at state institutions, are tasked with these duties. Rai said that after 11-month vacuum at the presidential post, it is time for Parliament to carry out its most important and basic duty. Vacuum striking the presidential post is having a tough impact on the cabinet and Parliament as the state is threatened with further crises over ongoing rows between political rivals. Army Commander General Jean Ahwajeh hails the efforts exerted by Saudi Arabia to safeguard Lebanon, stressing that the time is not right to reply to the insults made by Hezbollah chief Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah against Riyadh and the Gulf states. He confirmed that French Defense Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian will deliver on Monday the first batch of arms to the Lebanese army under a Saudi finance deal. Saudi Arabia and France inked the arms deal in Riyadh in November. The deal also includes training programs for the Lebanese army run by the French military. It aims to boost Lebanon's military as it struggles to contain the rising tide of violence linked to the civil war in neighboring Syria. In August, the kingdom also offered another $1 billion in funds to allow the army to purchase supplies immediately. Clashes between rebels and pro-government forces in Yemen and the Saudi-led airstrikes killed 44 people, medics and local sources say. Riyadh, meanwhile, is pledging to cover a UN humanitarian aid appeal. The UN says hundreds of people have died and thousands of families fled their homes since the air war was launched on March 26 at the request of embattled President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi. 10 Houthi rebels and 4 members of the Popular Committee's militia fighting on the side of Hadi were killed in pre-dawn clashes in the southwestern city of Taiz. The city has become the scene of fierce clashes over the past week after having been largely spared in fighting that has spread across several Yemeni provinces. Airstrikes on Shia Houthi rebel positions in the southern city of Daleh, as well as clashes, killed 17 Houthis and 6 southern fighters. U.S. President Barack Obama left open the door to creative negotiations in response to Iran's demand that punishing sanctions be immediately lifted as part of a nuclear deal, even though the initial agreement calls for the penalties to be removed over time. Asked at a White House news conference whether he would definitely rule out lifting sanctions at once as part of a final deal aimed at keeping Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, he said he did not want to get ahead of negotiators in how to work through the sticking point.
Si c'était confirmé, ce serait la pire catastrophe de ces dernières années en Méditerranée. Mais il y a cette catastrophe aujourd'hui, elle est terrible.
We apologize for the technical error. 700 people are feared to have drowned when a fishing boat smuggling migrants to Europe capsized off Libya, the UN's refugee agency said, in what could be the deadliest Mediterranean migrant disaster yet. She said only 28 people survived the capsize. UNHCR spokesman Carlota Sami told the Sky TG24 news channel in Italy. The survivors indicated there had been more than 700 on board. The Maltese Navy put the numbers on board at around 650 and said an alert had come in around midnight on Saturday. If confirmed, the tragedy would be by far the biggest in a growing catalogue of mass drownings of migrants attempting to reach the European Union on overcrowded, unseaworthy boats run by people smugglers. Coming up next, poet Arminé Choucassisian is in our studio. Stay with us. Welcome back. Memories and Cities. This is the title of the book of poems written by Arminé Choucassisian, who is in our studios today. Welcome, Arminé. Thank you for being with us. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, can you tell me a little bit about this book?
Oh, yes. The book is based on my personal experiences and how I have reacted to a few things in life and places I have visited, how they have influenced me, the impact they have made on me. And that impact, of course, is forever.
Right. You said you were, the book says you were born and raised in Baghdad.
Yes, and this is a scene, this is from Baghdad. It's the work of a very famous sculptor who died in 1961. It shows, it's of bronze, Saht al-Tahrir. It shows, you see, the soldiers breaking. It was made after the revolution in 1958.
Okay. When did you leave Baghdad? How old were you when you left?
Oh, well, I left Baghdad temporarily, I should say, when I came to attend the French school. I'm also from the Dame de Nazareth. I was there until the classe de première before I changed to the American system.
Okay.
I also, then I went to, of course, what was the Beirut College for Women.
Okay.
I got a BA from there. And then I moved on to AUB, where I got a Master of Arts in English Literature. In fact, in February 1966, I was the first Lebanese woman to get a Master of Arts in English Literature from AUB.
Okay, what prompted you to write a poetry book?
Sorry?
Though? What prompted you to write a poem book?
Oh, yeah, well, this is what remains of several, and I can't tell you how many, several notebooks. And in fact, I've spent days, the archives department of the AUB library, Jaffet Library, trying to retrieve some of the stuff. There's a lot that is, I remember the titles, but the notebooks are gone. Yeah. I don't happen to be a very organized person.
Oh no, it's okay. It's what it's what makes an artist sometimes.
Well, I don't know.
So here's what I would like to ask. What do you want people to take from this? So what will people discover? You know, is there one experience that stayed with you that you want to talk about, or something?
The wit behind the poem.
One specific one.
Oh, you want me to read one?
No, not read one. I want you to tell me about one specific event that marked you.
Okay. The language and the wit in every poem. The idea is expressed in a rather witty way.
Okay, but is there any specific event that you can recall that prompted you to write about a specific event? Like what?
Oh, yes. For example, I'll choose one of the shorter ones, which is on page 36, The Crook. This is someone whose only aim in life, whose one and only, and I'll emphasize the word only, aim in life is to make money, no matter how he can, you see. So if it's straightforward, now that's no problem, as long as he can make money.
This one's called I Knew an Older Man.
Yes,
so
that's it.
It's based on somebody that you knew?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Is this? Would you say this was probably the? What is your favorite poem in all of this book?
This is one of my favorite poems. Yes. On page 62, one which is in English, but of course the title is in French. À la durée d'une valse. It's a short poem. That also is one of my favorites.
Why do you? So you wrote. You're Armenian, am I right? You're Armenian. You wrote in English and in French. Did you ever publish in Armenian?
French. Beg your pardon?
Did you ever publish in Armenian?
No, I did not publish. But
Why not?
Well, I never had the command of the language, but I'm working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any final words?
Yeah, I'd like to read one short poem.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Which one would you like me to read? The one that has the title in French?
No.
Or I Knew an Older Man?
How about a little bit of I Knew an Older Man, because we're running out of time.
Sure. Oh, yes. That's on page 36.
Okay.
Yes. And by the way, there is wit in there, too.
Okay.
I knew an older man whose hobby, you just won't believe, was to raise court cases against anyone who had contradicted him. It is said at one time he had no less than 7 cases concurrently. Imagine 7 lawsuits running at the same time. His lawyers he hired very carefully, sharp in preparing the right evidences. He spent his time poring over papers. No effort was ever spared, no time spent was wasted, readying documents to ensure his triumph, aiming to win all 7 suits. His young wife complained of neglect. Woman, enough of you. We need the extra cash, was his retort. Extra cash? His eyes twinkled.
Okay, that's a very good one.
His eyes twinkled.
And you read it so nicely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I enjoy reading it.
Thank you so much, Armine, for being here. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Lebanese singer Hiba Tawaji graciously exited the 4th season of The Voice France yesterday, losing to Canadian singer Elvis lookalike David Thibault. Hiba Tawaji, who is 27 years old, first dazzled the judges when she performed Les Moulins de mon Cœur, resulting in a standing ovation from all 4. They showered her with praise. Tawaji shot to fame after collaborating with renowned composer Oussama Rahbani in 2007. She will take part in The Voice Tour 2015. And she made it to the semi-finals, joining the ranks of Anthony Touma from season 2 and proving once again that Lebanese talents transcend borders. Here is her rendition of Something Stupid with David. This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our top stories. Progressive Socialist Party leader Walid Jumblatt criticizes remarks by Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah against Saudi Arabia and reiterates his support for the campaign in Yemen. Maronite Patriarch Bashar al-Ra'i reiterates calls on lawmakers to attend parliament sessions and elect a new head of state. And clashes between rebels and pro-government forces in Yemen lead to kill 44 people as Riyadh pledges to cover a UN humanitarian aid appeal. We apologize for the technical errors today. We'll see you again tomorrow for all the latest. Thank you.